Rubric family, how's every single one of you today? It's a Saturday, April 25th, 2020, and of course, every weekend we bring you the best interviews, we give you the best talent that we can possibly offer. And in this time, we're again honored, humble to have Lori Lavis with us from
Hi.
Canada, from Winnipeg, Canada. She a lot of experiences in wrestling, so thank you so very much, Lori, for being with us.
Yep, thank
Thank you
you.
for having me.
Yeah, but it's a pleasure. So we're gonna be talking to you about like all the experiences that you have in this profession, in the world of professional wrestling that we have, that we love and we love. So Lori, tell me a little bit about yourself. How did Lori get exposed into the business, and how did you want it like to start like being in the wrestling business? Tell me a little bit about
I got started in the business, I guess, or exposed, I would say, at a young age because of Moose Morowski. My uncle Harvey, which is Moose Morowski's son, he ended up getting like just teaching us little things like running into walls, stuff like that. And then they got us into Olympic wrestling, which was good for a while and stuff. And then I eventually ran into Caveman Baroda, which was over at Chalmers Community Center with River City Wrestling. And that's where I pretty much fell in love with wrestling from there.
it. Okay, cool.
I was a
And
little brat that disturbed them while they wrestled.
okay. Okay, and then did you watch like WWE at the time?
Oh,
Did
yeah,
you
of
like
course.
watch wrestling at the time?
I watched it growing up. My dad, he was crazy about wrestling, like huge. Every time that they would make a move, he would be so I don't know, like he would jump out of his seat. There was always that emotional reaction from my father. So that was like a really huge thing for me just to, remember. And it was good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
You know,
Cool.
who were some of the wrestlers that you like latched onto watching at that young age, and then even like growing up more when it started to maybe be more influential? Like, who were the ones you were like, "Ooh, I could see myself doing that," or "I want to do what they're doing," or just any kind of inspiration like that?
I would have to say I love Queen Elizabeth just because, she's very passive and she was very like you didn't really see her talk much until she was like into the WCW era stuff, right? So like when she was in WWF, that was huge. She was like this princess. She was beautiful. She was like always those sparkly gowns and things like that. That was amazing. And then I loved Scary Sherry because Scary Sherry, oh my God, she's crazy. She's out there. She's expressive. Even Luna Bachon, she was pretty great, like the tattoos and everything like that. Her hairstyle was very punky for me. And then as we got into the Attitude Era, I would have to say that Trish Stratus and Lita, those were two huge female wrestlers back then, just because like they weren't the typical everyday pretty girl, but they had their own style and their attitude, and that's what made them great, right? So, I mean, you've got to appreciate them for their personalities and their character development over the years and everything like that. They had it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially and all those women were legit. Especially like Sherry and Luna. Like they would they get bumps and from the men, and they didn't care. They were both tough, legit. But unfortunately, they really just didn't get to showcase themselves like Lita and Trish. But all of those women and Elizabeth too. Everything she did, all extremely legit, influential
Oh,
women. So
absolutely. They opened the doors for us females. They definitely were like the cornerstone.
They paved the way. You will say they paved the way for everybody else who follow. And
And
yeah,
then
I will say that.
they brought it to a different level. And then now you got the women like Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Bailey. Like they're all pretty great girls and stuff like that. I do like the man. I have to say I do like the last kicker. She's great. I like her attitude and stuff like that. Yeah,
That is your favorite one for now.
great
But
talent.
when it comes to the guys like now, being like also like see Canada is a country that has given us so many extremely great wrestlers. Like we're like Paul and I are very thankful because he gave us Y2J, Chris Jericho, he gave us Edge, he gave us Christian, he gave us Bret Hart. Like
Yeah.
so many. Natalia Natalia also, and so
Yeah.
like any man that you look up to, like that you were like really fan of, like when it comes to like the
Um,
male wrestlers, I will say.
I would have to say, like in my younger years, definitely was like Macho Man, the Andre the
That's
Giant.
right.
Right, Andre the Giant, like he was so huge. Like even me as a little girl seeing him, I was so intimidated just by his size and everything like that. Then there was Mad Dog. He was scary, kind of to me. I was very intimidated and stuff like that. His green tongue was what like kind of like, or sorry, that was George, I believe.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that was
yeah,
George Animal Steel.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he ended up like his green tongue that threw me off when I was a kid, and so I mean, but now I would have to say that there was Edge. He was great. Then I love the Hearts personally. The family is great and stuff like that. I've met them on tours, especially like Matt Hart, Smith Hart, and stuff like that. So like they're great. Smith Hart, he ended up working with my family for I guess like my uncle there, Moose, with the AWA and Calgary Stampede and stuff like that. So like he was very pleased to meet me when I did meet him. So that was a nice little catch up there. And just I don't know, I like a lot of the independent wrestlers now versus WWE male role models versus I guess because I get to see them more in person and I get to know who they are. So I have a lot more, I would say now, respect for the independent wrestler than I would have had back then.
Yeah.
Working inside the wrestling industry. So
Well,
yeah.
you see the whole developmental, like you see them, when they start, like how like they like pull their craft, like their moveset, they develop their own character, how they get over, and especially it's really nice to see like the beginning, and then most of them end up being superstars. So you can say, oh yeah, I know them.
Watching them grow, and sometimes like just even like making little thoughts in the back of your head, oh, this guy's gonna make it, he's got what it takes. I want to see him make it because he's got the determination, he can push. One of the kids that I have to go and throw out there right now, his name is Josh. They call him Roy Cheeks, and watching him train and just the passion. He started training with us probably. Yeah, he was 15. He was training in my backyard. He was training with AJ Sanchez and them. And like AJ's done wonderful for that kid. That kid has good personality. He's humble. He's, he just got great mindset. So I just love watching him. There's a lot of other guys that I do enjoy that have been around for a while. And they help me a lot. They do.
That's awesome. Like, introduce us to your bunny. What's the name?
This is. Ooh, he doesn't like that. I have to let him go. But his name is King Ferocious.
Is King Ferocious?
Yeah, King Ferocious.
Is that his gimmick?
I have to admit, I'm a nerd. I like reading books and stuff like that. There's this one book. It's actually a cartoon on Netflix now. It's called Watership Down. It's all about rabbits, and King Ferocious is one of the characters.
Oh, so that's
okay. Yeah. I've seen the original animated film that was released a while ago. Yeah, that's like you almost when you see it, you're like, oh, is this a kids movie? Then 5 minutes in, you're like, no, this is not a kids movie.
For adults.
Yeah. No,
yeah, it's really PG'd, but it's great.
Now, would you say, going back to we're talking about independent wrestling and stuff, would you say that like the independent wrestling scene over there is really popular? Because like kind of like around here in the States, at least where Juan and I are located, there isn't like there's some buzz about it, but the show, I mean, there's not really like that big. Like, you don't have a lot of people saying like, oh, I'm gonna go to this wrestling show, or oh, I'm gonna do this. How is it in Canada? Is it more like a popular thing?
It depends on where you go. Like if Thunder Bay is a great city to hit up for wrestling. Winnipeg is really good. Calgary is amazing. Edmonton's been very good to us. There's other like towns and stuff like that have never seen wrestling before or had the wrestling come to their towns, and they don't know how to react or anything like that. They just kind of like sit there and they watch. But as you go to towns that are more familiar with wrestling and stuff like that, they're not afraid to get out of their seats, start screaming or heckling the wrestlers. I love that personally. Like, guys, keep doing it. We feed off that stuff. I don't like, even like the bar shows too. Like, if we have Kenny Omega there, that's a packed house, like guaranteed. There's not going to be like any standing room or anything like that. CWE shows tend to be like that. I would say I've never been to WrestleMax show, but I hear that they're really good. They have a nice concept with rock being like rock bands coming and playing for a portion, and then the wrestling show itself, right? So like you have this going throughout the night. It's a really neat concept. I like that personally.
Oh yeah, no, that's all. I'd go to something like that too, like rock music and wrestling. Like, what else do you need?
Yeah.
So,
They go along so well. Yeah, like what else do you want? Exactly, like absolutely amazing. So now, Lori, we touched a little bit on like Canada and everything. Now, tell me a little bit about you. How does Lori get into refereeing? You know, how like he's like, okay, I want to work in the wrestling business. How did that happen? Like,
I went to Comic-Con. I met Ted DiBiase, and he started winking at me while my brothers were geeking out. And they were like fangirling over Ted DiBiase, and he's just kind of looking over at me. He kept winking, and I was all like, you know what? Like, I miss this stuff. So I ended up running into a guy named Bobby Collins. He's the Rebel. He's the one with the Confederate flag. As we get later into the, I guess, conversation, you'll know he did own me for a small portion of my wrestling career. So, I mean, yeah, I did get dragged around by a dog collar and stuff like that. But anyways, I was wearing Harley Quinn makeup, and I used to watch them over at River City Wrestling when I was a little girl at Chalmers Community Club. Him and Caveman Broda on many occasions when I was a little girl. He saved me from being bullied from kids. I got jumped, and I was being beaten up with hockey sticks. Yes, go Canadians, right? Our form of battles end up being with those hockey sticks. Jesus.
You like Extreme Rules, it seems. Yeah, I can tell.
Definitely. Canadian style, you really don't want to go there. Caveman came out and he chased those guys off, and he ended up saving me and brought me into the wrestling show. And that was kind of where I was like, oh, I wonder how he's been. I haven't seen him for a good, I would say 15 years at that point. And I asked the Rebel, I'm like, do you remember who I am? Not realizing I was wearing Harley Quinn face makeup. So I kind of had like this crow thing going, and then my hair was in pigtails, and I looked absolutely nothing like I should have or could have at that point. And for him to remember, he's kind of like looking at me like, who are you? Right? So it was kind of like, it was a good moment. I asked him if Caveman was still alive, because over the years, I would ask him this when I would run into him as a security guard over at the hospital, and he kept on telling me that Caveman was dead, right? And so I asked him if Caveman was really dead, and he was all like, no, he's still alive or whatever, and he told me, and I ended up reconnecting with Caveman from there, and we ended up running a promotion, CWA, Canadian Wrestling Association, Caveman's World Amplified. That was my baby, my project. I was able to combine two things that I love. 50% of my profits I donated towards charitable acts and stuff like that, like different organizations, nonprofit. Like we have the Bear Clan. That was probably one of my best shows that I've done. We raised over $2,000 with a quilt that we had made. And wow. Just like, yeah, we went around town to town to try to like, you know, raise money for them and stuff like that. And then with 50% of my sales from my tickets, I gave that to them, and they made me an honorary Bear Clan member, which I'm very proud of. And they go, and who they are, they go and search for murdered and missing women. They go around our streets and they clean them up if they see any drugs, violence, things like that. If there are family members that can't find their family members, they'll go to those crack houses or whatever, and they'll get those kids or whatever out of those dangerous situations and bring them into safety so they're back at home and stuff like that. So I can't thank them enough for what they do. Then there was this little girl. She was my very first show. Her name was Alexis Siebert. She needed a liver transplant. She had a rare liver disease where she was born without a gallbladder. So her liver was failing on her, and she really desperately needed that transplant. And I would say about 6 months after I did that show for her, she ended up getting that transplant. She went to Toronto. She came back. We did a welcome back, and everybody got to see her at her best. And she's doing great right now too. Absolutely great. She's grown into such a beautiful young lady that, proud of her. There was a kid with leukemia that I helped. His name was Gabriel, and he was a fighter. He ended up beating his leukemia, and he ended up going into remission. He was only 5 years old. And just other organizations like for youth programs and things like that I would love doing. There was also the Winnipeg 76ers, which was a wheelchair rugby team. We ended up getting to play with them and stuff like that. Those guys were so much fun. I actually got invited as soon as this pandemic is over to go back over there and play a game with them, which I'm like totally stoked for. I love it.
That's awesome. And see, you did all these things thanks to like kind of like the power of wrestling, you will say, like reaching out and doing all of this. You see, like the range, you can how long you can reach only with your professional wrestling. For many people, you will say, oh yeah, it's just wrestling. There you go. There are the positive things that like professional wrestling can do for so many people. Like you have influenced so many lives, and because of you, you know how many people like have been able to have the chance to like still enjoying their life. So that's really plausible. You know, you have all of that, all the respect and the admiration for you when it comes to that, Lord.
I brought two things. I like to, I brought, donating or these charitable acts and being able to give back to the community and stuff like that. And I've taken wrestling and I've made wrestling where it's possible to do that on a regular basis, where not only that, like fathers bringing their sons in, not being able to have much as an outlet to go with kids that are cheap, especially if you have a big family like me. Yes, I have 7 sons. And nobody believes me when I say that. But yeah, I had my first kid when I was 15, and my youngest is 3 now. And his name's my little snowman. But definitely, just me as a mother, I can't go out there and take my whole family out to enjoy a sport event because most of the time those tickets, they're just ridiculous, right? So I made it so kids can come and watch with their parents and stuff like that. It was in a low-end neighborhood. So like we were targeting the lower end and stuff like that, just so this way they had somewhere that they could also go.
Oh great. Outstanding. So now, like Lori, like you decide to like be a referee, correct? So how was that decision, or how do you were presented the idea? Like who did that to you, and you were like, okay, well, yeah, I can see myself like refereeing matches.
I was on tour with CWE. I can't remember if it was my 3rd or 2nd tour, but one of the old referee that was on that tour got kicked off that tour. There was ACH, I guess, called him out on some stuff that he was being very shady with, and he got upset and he basically quit that tour and ended up that referee. So they kind of came up to me, and all I had was my winter boots, right? Because it's like -40, and I'm just the merch girl at that point. And they were like, "We need you to rep." I was like, "I've never repped. Nobody's ever taught me." Right? So AJ Sanchez, there was a few others like Chase Owens. There was Matt, the Boston Bruiser, with Silas Young's tag team partner at the time. He ended up they all gave me like a 5-minute pep talk. I was looking at my feet. I'm like, I just got these brown, ugly winter boots. Like, what do you guys want me to do about that? They're like, you can't do that. I'm like, well, can I go in just my bare feet? And they're like, no, that's not professional. You need to be in black pants. We got you a rep shirt, which absolutely stunk. Man, it was horrid. I had to spray it down with Febreze before I put that on. But I found a lady in the audience, and I stole her shoes for her wrestling show.
Cool.
Yeah. And so I did it. I winged it. I did my best, and it wasn't too terrible. I actually really liked it. I got such a rush from that. I enjoyed it a lot more than actually balleting and stuff like that. I been doing it, and then I was away for a little while, and then I started speaking with Andrew Shellcross from PCW, and he's like, yeah, we could use another rep over here. If you want to come down, come down. We would love to have you. And now I'm just an everyday part of the show over there, and I love it. And I've been learning. The guys have been great in the locker room about teaching me, what I need to know. If I've made a mistake, they're not, shy to tell me that I've done something wrong. So pardon me. So I can fix it or learn from it or whatever. And yeah, it's been great.
That's true. That's awesome. That's awesome. So so you keep developing your refereeing skills and everything. So what was the match that influenced you the most? Like you being the ref, like the match that you enjoyed the most so far. Tell me a little bit of that memory. Like the match that you were the ref and you enjoy yourself the most.
One. That would be a more recent one. I don't know why people might think I'm crazy, whatever, but I enjoyed being knocked out from ATM. I would have to say that was different. That was.
Tell us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
It hurt. It hurts, right? And I was knocked out. I was laying there on the mat, and then he shook me, woke me up, and I did my count, and I could not stand up. And I realized that when I went and I played back the video for that, he DDT'd Rob Royce on my foot while I was knocked out. So I couldn't even stand up on my own foot, and I had to finish the show like that. And that was interesting. But I mean, I started getting better and more confident in my ability to rep. And I would say that that's really where I really enjoy that. And then another one would be Moses Luke. I really enjoy his personality. I kind of play around with him. When I go and touch him, I'll grab his ass. Yeah, Mo, I like your bum.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you could say the referee might not be calling this one down the middle. There might be some, I don't know, some shadiness going on, here. But that's all right. Like you said, you got to play the heel and the face ref. You got to be both in certain matches. So
not everybody's gonna like me. I'm gonna have my haters. So I mean, if I might as well enjoy it while I'm there.
Exactly.
It is true. It is true, Loris. Any goals for you that you have? It seems to me like you already know how to rap. You enjoy that. Like, do you see yourself maybe going to a bigger promotion, working for a mainstream promotion, like Impact, WWE, AEW? Now that there's this need of female referees, because of Audrey Edwards, and there's so more in WWE also that they're receiving a lot of chances on that. Do you see yourself potentially being in those scenarios?
I definitely say the sky's the limit for me right now, just because there's a lot of different opportunities that I might have not have been able to have before because of my situation and stuff like that. But that's changed quite drastically, where now I have the freedom to go and do what I want when I want. Where I'm actually working on getting my ID and stuff like that and a passport. I do want to go out to the States and start repping out there with some of the smaller companies and stuff like that and kind of take it from there. I definitely want to go to Calgary and wrestle for, a company out there and just kind of see where that takes me. If somebody asks me and they want me there, then yeah, I'll go.
Awesome. So, Lori, tell me a little bit about, you said you started also in the promotion where Kenny Omega started, correct?
Yes, that's where I'm repping right now.
Yeah, so have you been able to see him, or does he stop by?
I was hoping that we were going to see him on March 28th for the anniversary show, because it was the 18th anniversary show, but that ended up getting canceled because of the COVID. So I don't know exactly what's going on with that. He does occasionally make appearances, and they tend to be those anniversary shows. So I was all excited. I was like, oh, maybe I get to rep one of his, matches. That would be great. That would be
awesome, right?
Be fangirling in my own way. Though I'm going to be quiet and mousy in the corner, but I mean,
that would be real. That would be really cool. That would be excellent, Lauren.
Oh yeah, because with Kenny Omega, he's so legit. He would have put on the show. Like I feel some of these big name guys when they come back, they'll be like, "Yeah, I'll do the appearance and leave." But Kenny, he'd pour his heart out there in the match for all you guys. So that would have been legit.
I too, like with a lot of the stuff that I see from him in videos and documentaries, things like that. He's really a good person. So I mean, like, there's so much in the business that me as a person that's just starting out and stuff like that, I can learn from him. I definitely can.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it will be good for you if you can have a conversation and ask him, like, for pointers or anything, because he will be able to take you to the next level, so to say, and that will be awesome for you and your career.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, like, just coming from the same school and stuff like that, I did an assembly with John W. Gunn junior high. This school is in Transcona here in Winnipeg, and that's where he ended up attending. And the teachers and the counselors, they still remember him there, and they keep asking about him. They're like always asking me, "Oh, how is he? And do you think that you can get him down here for an interview?" I don't know per se, but you know what? Anything's possible.
Well, like, we're going to ask you the same thing, Laura. You think you can get us an interview with Kenny Omega? That would be nice. That would be nice.
It's possible, right? Kenny, if you're listening to this, everybody wants to.
Grab the bomb, grab the bomb and just be like, put our cards right there, put rope rig in them. It's like, hey, these guys are nice. So do us that favor, Lori. Well, now, Lori, I want to ask you, what's your take on the current product? You watch, you watch WWE, you probably watch AEW for Kenny, you for Jericho and everything. What's your current take? You think that wrestling is getting better, is getting more popular, has lost its popularity? What's your take? From like a fan and also a person that works in the business. What's your take?
My take is that it's actually, like, Vince, he knows what he's doing. I can't like sit there and say that man doesn't know what he's doing, because he knows business more than most, right? And a lot of us, even though we don't like what he does, or maybe we don't agree with what he does, there's a reason behind it. And yeah, there's his craziness in his head. There's a method to it. So I definitely can't bash what he does, because it works over a long period of time. It has been working for him, and he's like on top, right? And then you got AWE. I think that they have a lot of potential to be that company that runs neck and neck with WWE. They have a different type of product. It's not quite so flashy like WWE. It's more toned down, but I like the whole indie still aspect to what's going on inside the ring. Hadri, she's amazing. They really picked right with her. She gets it when it comes to refereeing and stuff like that. I actually I love watching her, because I can learn from her too, right? So I mean, just expressions, things like that. She has no issue expressing how she feels during a match, and that's so important these days, because like, you're there, you're in the ring, you're living the moment, right? So I mean, if you don't feel what's going on in front of you, it's probably going to look really shitty to the audience and look really shitty to everybody else that's watching on TV, whatnot, right? So I mean, I do enjoy them. I have to say I miss old school wrestling though. Like, big part of it, because I love the strong style and stuff like that. They worked on, like, just the chain wrestling, and not everything was like high spots, because I notice a lot of wrestlers, that's what they're doing right now. They're doing all the high spots, which is great and stuff like that. But I really am a strong believer, if you're in the opening card, you shouldn't be doing those high spots. I believe that those high spots probably should be reserved for like a semi, or a main event type thing, just because that's where the crowd needs it the most, right? When they get to that point. So yeah, that's how I feel kind of about wrestlers now. They like those high spots, and they forget in the moment that it's not always about those high spots, that they need to kind of slow everything down and just work the ring itself.
Hey, Paul, anything on that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree with that. a lot of that what you just said, because like you said, everybody is really trying to do these amazing spots, and one, if you get the crowd too excited too soon, you take them out of it, then by the main event they're all half asleep because they're so exhausted.
And
And
they already,
also,
right? So it's not
and
exciting at
also,
that
yeah,
point.
like you said, they can't. What we're not going to see anything more spectacular than we saw in the first match, because they were doing, Canadian destroyers off the top rope and Spanish flies and all this other stuff. It's like, well, why do I need to watch the main event? I got the
Yeah,
best show in the
absolutely.
opening act. So, like, it does. I do agree, like you said, get a little more mat wrestling, more chain wrestling, holds, stuff like that. But I think just the current, talking about current product, I think the current flavor now is just big spots, high spots. The bigger you are and the crazier the move is, that's all people want to see.
People are getting better though at figuring out their characters. I've noticed that, like coming across on television and stuff like that. Like I love some of the characters, the colors and the costumes, things like that. They're very creative. So I have to give a lot of those wrestlers like applause for that, because that's huge too. Like your entry, things like that. Because right from the get go, so you being behind the curtain and coming out and stuff like that, there's that anticipation, like from the crowd themselves watching, like who's coming out from behind the curtains, and then the music hits, and then they get all wild up, right? So, I mean, if you don't have a good character, that's not going to happen.
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty
definitely.
much character development is like so crucial in wrestling. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, when
Absolutely
you
agree to that.
when you talk about like a big pop, has there ever been a moment where like you as a ref, where it's like the crowd really cheered you, maybe you made a call for an underdog baby face and he won, or did they boo you when you made the 3 count
Oh,
for
they
the
absolutely
heel or
boo
something
me,
like
and they
that?
still do. They still boo me.
We
I
want the story. We want the story.
Sorry, Tasty and Bobby Shank. I have to apologize to you guys, but I had to make the call. You guys ended up losing the tag team belts, and I know you guys are a fan favorite, but I mean the pin, right? And it's the count, so it happened. It pretty much, they did not like, the fans did not like me afterwards, and it's probably been about 5 6 months, and I was like, still getting booed as I was coming out, and it was getting mixed feelings, right? Because half the crowd is like cheering for me, and then the other half is kind of booing me. They don't really like me because I made their tag team lose. But I mean, I'm very strong when it comes to my calls. If I feel that you lost, then you lost. If I feel that I was wrong, then yeah, I will say it. I'm not afraid to say it.
Good. Good. So now that you mentioned all of this, Lori, like, what do you think is like the role of the ref, or then has the role of the referee has evolved from when you start watching wrestling and now that you are a referee? Do you see more involvement? Do you see
Yeah,
like they're more
there's a
participating in
lot
the action? It's just not like just the referee. It's like, oh, it's the ref. Now I think it's is a part of the whole puzzle.
I think it makes the whole picture, the referee, right? Like it helps with, just the flow, definitely, of things going on, right? And it keeps the matches going smoothly and stuff like that, if you have a good rep. Um, if a not so good rep, they might get gassed out and stuff like that, and they might not, like, be a fan favorite in that sense. But I think it's an important role. I really do, just because there's so much possibilities. And from the involvement, like when you watched in the 80s, you barely saw them, right? And that's still an important concept, but they were always holding on to the ropes. And then when somebody would go and make a pin, they would jump in, and that's when they would, like, do their 3 count and stuff. So we don't do that anymore. We kind of crouch more in the corners and stuff like that, just so in this way we're out of the way and stuff like that, just so the guys can get their, whatever spots that they need to get in. So definitely, it's grown quite a bit. Expressions, like I have to keep on going back to Edwards, because she's like, I don't know. She's just amazing. She gets it in all different aspects, and she would be what would be considered the new ideal of what a referee should look like.
Yes, yes, I will say that. That will be. She's the model of like what all of you are trying to, emulate or like just follow the steps on. I will say that, yeah. So I want to ask you like your dream. I want to picture Lori, you're refereeing. Give me the event and give me the match that you would like to referee from both men and women. Like, the two guys and two girls that you would like to be refereeing a match from.
Okay, I definitely would have to say that I would want to ref one of Edge's matches. I would have.
Against who?
I'm going to say Christian.
Oh, that would be legit.
That will be awesome. Awesome.
I would have to say Christian, Edge and Christian. Just, that seems like that would be an absolutely amazing match all around. Their personality, they know each other. So it's like, you're not going to pull that on me, right?
Best friends,
Yeah,
like from.
so, and just to see that story be told, that would be a good one. For females, I would have to say Asuka, and I'm gonna go with Bailey.
Okay.
Oh, that would be legit. Yeah.
Right there, my
those are two of my favorites. So I'd be down for that.
Yeah, no, I think that would be a good one because Bailey, she's coming out now as, she's not the goody two shoes anymore that everybody wants her to be. So she's got that new attitude adjustment where Asuka, I think that can fix that. Definitely.
Awesome. So like, will you be like all business, or will you be like rooting for any of them, helping them out a little bit? How does Lori feel when it comes to those situations? Hey, I like this guy.
I kind of have sometimes mixed feelings because I'll go check on them if they are seriously hurt or something like that. And if I find that maybe there might be a chance that I need to call it or something like that, then I'll check to make sure. Other than that, they're on their own. If I make my calls, like if you're outside of the ring and you fell outside of the ring, I'm going to make my call. Right, I'm going to start counting to 10 and whatever. That's on you to get back in the ring. That's not on me.
No hesitation, right? That's a good ref. That's a good ref. Awesome.
I'm very loud, so I like to be loud in their face. So then I make sure they hear me.
Good. Lori, you sent me a video. We have a drill that we're going to show the audience with Balvinus. Can you walk me through a little bit of that? What happened there?
Yeah, definitely. It's what not to do. Definitely what not to do. I was actually standing on the outside of the ropes listening to a training seminar with Balvinus, and he decided he was going to run the ropes, and I was not expecting that whatsoever. So I wasn't hanging on, and I was in just the right spot to be slingshotted out, and I ended up I flew like a good 10 to 15, maybe even 20 feet to the stage. I'm not even sure exact distance. I was this close to hitting my head on the back of the stage, the corner of it. I didn't. I fell right. I jumped back up and I shook off, and they were like, "Oh my God." So everybody ended up losing their shit over that. And Tyler Colton's reaction, you'll see his reaction. That is amazing. I love it.
Awesome. Yeah, as well. You learn from Balvinus, so a great guy in the Attitude Era. Pretty popular. Cool stuff. What else did he teach you? If you could say it, of course. What not to do, what to do. Was that important information for you? Did it help you out? Later on.
Yeah, there's a lot that he ended up saying there at the training seminar, which I'm going to sit there and say that if you want to know what he said, go to one of his training seminars. Definitely worth your money.
Good.
But yeah, I ended up learning a lot, and especially slowing things down, and just from his own experiences and things like that. That what he had learned over the years, that was a huge piece for me.
That is something, Paul, that we say a lot in the reviews that we do, because we do Stone Cold Broken Skull sessions. We do a lot besides the reviews that we do. Road Break is just a bunch of surprises every single week, and a lot of wrestlers said slow is less is more. They always say that. What do you think is that? I want your opinion, because you've been in the business. Why is that phrase so important? It's slow, less is more.
I truly believe when you keep it simple, it's easier to follow, and if you slow down, it gives everybody else enough time to process what's going on. Because even if you're 10 steps ahead in your head, right? Everybody else is not in your head, right? So you can't assume that they know what you know.
It is true. It is true. Yeah. Paul, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I like that's I agree with that, and also I think it's a thing where like you get a lot of people who are new and they maybe think like, hey, I want to get over, I want to show everybody what I can do, and they try to do 10 things in 5 minutes, but it's like, hey, how about you just do
Too
like
much.
four things in 5 minutes, and once you get four things mastered, then add a fifth, then a sixth, then like you can add more, but don't try to do everything all at once. Wait till you master it, get good, because you're just going to end up messing up the simple stuff, and then you get down on yourself, and it's just like a spiral. That's how I always think, because like when we talk
Absolutely.
about like the Big Show, the Big Show tried to do too much, and they're like, no, just slow it down. So that's how I take it, and I think it's good advice to people.
No, yeah, they definitely need to slow down. A lot of people, that's important just because, like, nobody's a mind reader. I mean, like, that's number one big thing, right? Secondly, if you do, like you said, 10 spots within 5 minutes span, are they going to remember all those spots? What if
Exactly.
you had one really amazing spot in those 10 spots, right? And every other one was shit. They're going to remember the shit spots. They're not going to remember that good one.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
That's what we see. That's why we ask you all these things. Then, Lori, like, how long would you say for like how long did it take you to feel comfortable as a ref? From you when you started, how long did it take?
I'm still finding some footing because some of the stuff it's like I'm unsure of, or did I do it right? But they always tell me like I did fine. Like they're like, okay, maybe just like work on your counts. That's it. Which is something I do definitely need to work on. Some of my accounts, find my rhythm. Other than that, I feel that they haven't complained about much, and I'm just kind of grateful they haven't. But at the same time, it's like, well, guys, can you like shit on me a little bit just so I can learn a little bit more? And they're good, right? I have to say, I love the guys that I work with. They're a really good crew. I'm sure that if there's anything that's too crazy that I did wrong or something like that, that they will pull me aside and they will help me correct it.
Oh, that's great. You say you did a little bit about your ballet, right? Like because you sent me a picture and you're like somebody's carrying you with like a harness or like a leash, right?
Ali,
The leash,
yeah,
yeah.
I was balleting for a little while, but what
Tell
ended
us
up
a little bit about that, if you could.
Bobby Rollins ended up putting a bet with my pops, Caveman Baroda, and Caveman ended up gambling me away with my portion of the company. So when Collins ended up winning, he ended up pulling me by the hair. He pulled me into the ring over the top rope, and I ended up getting collared. And he put the dog chain on me, dog leash, and for months, actually a good couple of years, I was walking around with a collar and a dog leash. So yeah, that was fun.
You've done it for the business, I can tell.
Yeah, once he started behaving, I would have to say that he, like he started letting me out of the dog cage. He eventually stopped feeding me dog food and started feeding me steak because I was starting to listen. And I mean, well, his son's very good looking. So, I mean, he was a good reason for me to like,
There was
sit there.
something for you to watch, There
Yeah.
was something for you to watch.
Yeah. Plus, I loved my walks. So,
Good. So you
Yeah,
said you've done it.
at least he got you some exercise. That's
oh,
nice.
definitely.
That's what we're talking about. So, Lori, big question now. You've been a ballet. You've been a ref. Are we gonna see you as a wrestler anytime soon, or has that thought crossed your mind?
There's a video actually on my page there, my web page called Girls Gone Wild. It was probably the closest that I've gotten to wrestling anybody. It was just actually me rolling around in the ring with that Gypsy Rose. But yeah, I think that if I were to, I wouldn't mind trying some things out, like learning and stuff like that. If I'm going to be a rep, or I mean, more than a rep, that I think would have to be a time would tell if I'm okay, if I'm good at it, if I'm confident at doing it or anything like that. Like those are huge for me. If I don't find that comfortability, then I probably will be okay being that rep.
Yeah, okay, I get it, I get it. And tell me, like, we know how like the kind of workouts, like the kind of training that wrestlers have. Do you follow the same guidelines on that? Like reps have to
Oh,
follow the same kind of training?
I have a hired trainer. Yeah. I pay for a trainer just because it's important to me. I want to be able to keep up with the guys and stuff like that. I don't need to be that gassed out rep. So cardio, everything is really important. Plus, I was struggling with weight gain. I've always struggled with weight gain throughout my whole entire life. So I was, I used to get bullied when I was in school, like, chicken legs, things like that. So me exercising is the only way that I can actually keep weight on without falling down under the 100-pound mark. So it's important for me as a person. I don't want to come across as that twig, it's probably not too appealing inside the ring or anything like that. So, it's important to have that booty.
It's hey, we know you're absolutely pretty. We can see that. We're you're a beautiful person. So tell me a little bit more now. Like we talked about all the wrestling and everything. Now, how's Lori outside of the ring?
Oh gosh, Lori
What
Crazy.
Lori the person? What do you like? Your hobbies, what you dislike. Uh,
I have 7 sons. Okay. That has been an interesting thing. Like I was a mother, I was a teen mom actually. I had my first son when I was 15, and my youngest when I was only 35, and or actually 34. So yeah, he's 3 now, so I'm 37. So that works out, and being a mom has kept me busy and things like that. But it's also made me a good rep because I won't take their shit. And a lot of the tactics that I've used to deal with my own kids, I'll use them with the wrestlers. I'll mom them. I don't care if they need to be mommed. They're getting mommed.
Yeah, a lot of the wrestlers are just big kids anyway, so it
Yeah,
works all
absolutely.
the same
It
yelling
works
and
out,
scolding.
right?
Yeah.
It works out in my favor in that sense. But I love to paint. I love reading. You guys should definitely read the Overdrive series, a Cowboys ending and stuff like that. That's from the Outlaw Adam Knight. He is a wrestler in the PCW promotion. He's been to New Japan. He's been to like a lot of places out in the States and stuff like that throughout the years and stuff. So, I mean, like, he's a really great wrestler. He's also a really good writer. I love his books. Um, then I paint. I don't know if you can see it.
Give us a close up. Yep. No, the lining is not. Oh, right there. Yeah, we can see it. Yep. An
Oh, okay.
elephant. Elephant.
Yes, that's my pink elephant that I just painted.
Oh, that's
Uh,
nice. I see the art
yeah,
right there. Yeah, pretty good.
yeah. I teach right now. I'm teaching my kids homeschooling and stuff like that. So I love it. I think I'm gonna like actually like continue after the pandemic is over homeschooling them just because I've never spent so much quality time with them, as well as being able to teach them and learn with them has been absolutely amazing. I love that stuff. And I play Dungeons and Dragons because I'm like this big geek. I love
Yeah.
that.
Well, Jean Paul and I we play games too. So like, yeah, we've been Jean Paul's been doing Final Fantasy. He's been doing Animal Crossing. So we're like I do FIFA. I'm a big soccer fan outside of wrestling. So we always like we keep like the
Do
gaming
you like
also.
blowing bubbles?
Uh, which one? I'm sorry.
Do you like blowing bubbles?
Yeah, I can do that.
It's Manchester United's themes are chant. I love blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in
Oh
the air.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. I see that. Yeah, yeah. I'm a fan. Not a big fan of the team, but like I'm from Ecuador, so an Ecuadorian player. He played for them for a long, like 10 years
Okay.
or so. So we're all like kind of like we follow that team a lot. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Cool.
Very,
So
very.
anything, Jumpo.
Anything?
Mm,
Oh,
no,
for
I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, we touched on it all, like the future and this and that. I guess if I had to add, like, if, going on the future, if you could choose one, corporation to work for or anything, like, is your dream to be maybe in like an AEW or WWE or, to kind of stay where you're at, but just, maybe do more helping with the community, all that stuff, or do you kind of want to maybe do both? Work the independents, but also, hey, like I gotta go to WWE for a little bit, but I'll be back, kind of deal.
I think that I would like to grow as a person, refereeing just, anywhere. I want to go out to Mexico, maybe, Puerto Rico. I
That's
would love
nice.
to go to Japan and stuff like that. I know, I would say Britain, stuff like that. They're just, that would be really cool just because of the travel aspect and things like that. And I think that I can gain a lot of different experiences, especially with how things are ran differently from here to the States to Mexico to Japan to, like, you know what I mean? Like, so there's like
Oh
all those
yeah.
different genres that you can learn from, that it could only, like, clean me up and probably shine me up.
I would almost say that that's probably the better thing to do, because when you're going around seeing how it's done in all these different, because every place, wrestling Japan, Mexico, Britain, even Canada, United States, every place does it a little bit differently. So you'll be learning all the different aspects. But if you would go to somebody like WWE or probably even AEW, they kind of have it where it's like, this is kind of how we do it, and we want you to kind of do it our way. So you're
Yeah.
only really learning their way. But if you go around the world, you'll be like, well, look at all this knowledge I have. And they'll be like, oh, we didn't even think of it that way. And then you
Yeah.
can kind of help incorporate more. So I
Need
feel
to
like that's
feel for
honestly the
that.
smarter choice.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. So Lori, tell me before we let you go, give me your best memory of wrestling and your worst memory of wrestling.
Okay, best memory of wrestling. I would have to say the moment that I saw Vinnie Valiant put the red dress up. And the reason why I say that would probably be one of my best moments is because that dress represented the missing and murdered Indigenous women, and they finally beat Collins. So when they finally beat Collins, there was such an energy in the room and stuff like that, and him taking that dress and just, like, that was a huge symbol for us and the community. So that was probably one of my better moments. My worst moment, I'm sorry, Chase Owens, but yeah, I would say wrapping his match. He was not happy with me, with my call. And he's scary when he's angry.
That's it. Okay. So we're debuting one in a new segment here. So we're gonna ask you. The segment is just pretty much tell me the question. You tell me the question that we would like. That you will answer. Like the question from that you wanted like to be asked by us.
You guys pretty much covered it all.
Anything that comes to mind. Anything.
mm, Here, I'm gonna just say watch Ring Warriors if you really want to watch or know what Canadian wrestling is about. It's a documentary from CBC. It was really well done, and then just, I don't know, like, I love working for PCW personally. The environment's really great. That they're probably my favorite company currently to work for and stuff like that. And just Andrew Shellcross, he's amazing. He's been very kind to me, and just the opportunity that he gives me. That's where I get the most from wrestling right now.
Good.
I really don't know in the moment.
And all right. Well, Lori, then this is the time that like the floor is yours. So you say all the highs, like say anything you want to say to everybody that is watching you in this video. So the floor
You
is
know
all
what?
yours. And your
Never give up.
message for
Definitely
everybody that you know.
never give up. I mean, like, sometimes things may look bleak, or you might not get along with somebody, or, you might fear their opinion, but their opinions don't matter at the end of the day. It's what you need to do to live with yourself, and at the end of the day, stay positive. Turn your negatives into positives, because you know what? That's the only way you're going to get anywhere. You just got to turn everything around. Definitely turn life around. Everything gets better. Nothing lasts, on the negative stand. So just be positive, be happy, stay blessed.
Awesome. Lori, we want to thank you for your time. It has been such a wonderful conversation with you. All your contact information for everybody, promoters, anybody that wants to hire you, will be down in the description of the video. So, Jean Paul, where they can find us on the social media world?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the original rope break. Follow us there. When you will see this, beautiful little or was it ferocious? You
Yes,
can
Yeah,
see
King
this
Ferocious.
rabbit, King
you can see
Ferocious. You can see
Ferocious.
that, yeah, yeah.
You can
During
see
this interview, this will be posted on all social medias, YouTube as well. Any news, all that stuff. We always post it, and the best content on YouTube is right here on Rope.
so once again, Laurie, thank you so very much. We wish you the best. We hope that we can see you, AEW, WWE in Mexico. We will be covering that anytime that you're in Pennsylvania and the United States. Please reach out. We
Oh,
want we want to have you in person in the show. Stay safe, healthy. Don't forget to wash those hands. And I think
oh,
Jean Paul, you and me have one thing left to say, and that is.
Yep.
Uh,